Hello, everyone, and welcome to my YouTube channel. This is Lygia here with your month-to-month, 6-month reading from January 2026 to June 2026. And can you believe that we're actually entering we're in the last month and the last few weeks, I suppose, week and a half of December. I'm just when I'm actually doing this recording. Anyways, I hope that this year has been eye-opening, but also something of a stepping stone for the next year. From January until June, we can see a lot of changes, a lot of changes from the last 6 years or so. And because the astrology and astronomy are also talking about a different type of era that we're kind of going into. And I encourage you to look into the astrology, both Western astrology as well as Vedic astrology, because you can get some very interesting information from both. Again, similarities between the two, absolutely, because they are very, very much, very much aligned. So that said, the astrology is telling us that we are moving into a new era of a new beginning. And it is also another for where the planetary aspects are in different planets anyways, where they are aligned. We're going into another, like a different 7 to 9 year practical movement, I suppose you can say, of where we are having to make some changes and physical changes in order to get the new golden era of this new world into place. So, and we've seen a lot of the crumbling services and things that have been happening over the last, several years anyways. This year, very, very potently. And so in the next year, we're going to see some of the fruits of our labor, I suppose you could say. Some differences because of some changes in political situations. And I'll let the astrologers kind of take care of some of that, because it very much aligns with the way that the planets are at the moment. And I just want to mention as well, my channel is going to be evolving as well, like everything else. So the January to June and July to December 2026 readings will also be done, but I will also do a monthly newsletter rather than a weekly newsletter. So for those who are signed up for my newsletter, and if you aren't, I encourage you to do that at takebackyourpower.live. That would be, it's kind of in a leeway because I know that it's leading into different forms of what I'll be posting on media, social media. So my YouTube channel is going to be evolving, and I just wanted to mention that. So that said, let's go right into the reading. I've picked out the cards from my card deck, Take Back Your Power Oracle Guidance cards. And for those who would still like copies of this, I encourage you to contact me directly. I'm only selling them physically at the moment, so that is is being mailed out to you. And the reason for that at the moment is because of the way that I've self-published this. I have a certain amount of stock, and I am taking it again on the tour that I'll be doing with the Galaxy Psychic Fairs in spring. As far as I know, that is what is happening. I'm not gonna shoot myself in the foot and not know exactly what's happening. Again, everything is evolving, so who knows? But that is the plan. So the physical copies are out there. I don't have anything on my website for it at the moment. It hadn't even been advertised really yet. So that said, it's kind of exclusive at the moment, but it is in approximately 18 stores, not only across Canada, but I've gone global. So that is encouraging. That said, I've drawn the months, so the 6 months from this card deck, as well as one clarifier outcome card. So it's basically for the first half of the year. That card will work basically to generalize and or summarize the first 6 months. Okay, so the first card that we have is January, and that is past life. Now, over the last 6 years, we have gone into a state where we've had to go back and likely review some of the things that we've dealt with, or that we haven't dealt with. This card is letting us know that January allows more truths from our DNA to come to the light. So past life, in this regard, we are going to see more alignment with certain truths that might be coming out within, whether it's the media, the social media, but at the same time, that might be maybe about like 20%, whereas the other 80% is coming through our DNA. So literally, we will have the opportunity to never have someone else pull the wool over our eyes. So this is what I'm saying, is that basically the truth is starting to come out through our DNA. And that is from the consciousness that is rising over, the eons that we've been here. This is a very potent time. And this is going to come out in reviewing or knowing that we have skills from various incarnations. And it's called past life because originally, when I had actually come up with a title for every card, past life was what was most reviewed or seen in the spiritual world and the spiritual communities. So it wasn't necessarily, and it isn't necessarily past lives. For those who believe, incarnations are happening at the same time. I know it's a linear, like for us, we think linearly. We think past, present, future. However, think about this. If their past, present, and future is a human concept, then it means that all of our lives that we have lived and or living at this moment and about to live are happening at the same time. It means that we are in a moment in time. Right? So if that is the case, and if you check into quantum physics, you will find an alignment with that, an alignment with the way time and space is viewed. Past lives from our incarnations, so any incarnation that we have going on at the moment, we have access to what we know in those lives. We have access to the creations or the creativity that we have in those lives. And that means our careers that we're doing. We've been brutes in incarnations. We've also been victims. And we've also taken that into this lifetime. So consider this. Every incarnation that we've had on this line, this timeline, space and time, could be amalgamating into this time. Because of our consciousness level, because of where things are at with the earth and how we are melding with her at this time. Because she is raising her consciousness, she is taking us with her in her consciousness rise, and the whole cosmos is doing the exact same thing. It's not just us. It's not just us. Because think of everything being connected in a lattice work of energy and space and time. We're all connected. That means that what happens here is going to be happening out in space in some way. So that said, our past lives are coming into, in January, we have the opportunity to tap into some of the skills and abilities that we've had in the past so that they can make sense to us, that our full life purpose can make sense to us, and that we will know what we need to do. Now, it's not like a holistic, oh yeah, I know everything I need to do at this time. No, it doesn't necessarily have to it might not necessarily tap into that particular situation, but it might mean that we will get more step-by-steps as to where we're going in our life purpose. And that said, we will also know. We'll know without knowing how we know. I've said this before. And that allows us to actually drop into our heart to remember the unconditional love that we have as a soul within and as an embodiment of the divine, and to be able to know that we are bigger than we think we are. And in that knowledge, we will have knowledge. We will have that much more knowledge about what we need to do next. Now, knowledge, think about this too. Knowledge is somewhat time sensitive to the present, whereas wisdom is something that we have within us that is from all the eons that we've lived in general. We have the wisdom coming out so that we can tap into the knowledge of what we do next. Okay, so that is January. That's a big, big thing. So the next we have is February, and February is in hope. So basically, hope in this card, what hope really is our soul is timeless. Okay, and we have gone into many different incarnations. And in every one, we've been here for quite some time, likely, and we've experienced a lot of different types of experiences. Some very favorable, some not so favorable, and some in between. That said, if we know that there is something coming up, that we hope for something, it means that our soul has gone through it before. And like January has come up and said that we can tap into the truth of our past lives, the truth of the incarnations, the creativity, the careers that we've done, the type of person that we were at that time. This also gives us hope for, and when I say hope becomes faith once we start to believe and start to activate that wisdom within us. It becomes faith, knowing that something really good is about to happen. This is very akin to abundance as well. So February is a month of hope, and how that might relate is also the fact that we're going to see a lot of changes in the political realm. I see a lot of, when I say changes, I mean upheavals. Like we're talking a roller coaster throughout the entire year. This is something that I'm feeling. I think it's probably been in the astrology as well. But I'm sensing that we're going to have quite a bit of upheaval, and that means that because the political realm is something that is where we're going to need more changes in order for a newer, more favorable, more unified consciousness type of community to evolve. And because everything else is shifting, everything else is breaking down, that is also breaking down. And in that case, the leadership and we're talking leadership not just like for countries or for globally or whatever the case is. We're talking about leadership in general. So if you are seeing changes in the corporations, even in private sectors, this is going to be changing in February. This is going to be happening or starting in February. And I believe we'll also have hope because of a new beginning. This is the feeling of new beginnings coming in, and more favorable new beginnings for humanity. So hope is a big one, especially when it comes to people who, every one of us has been affected by the financial situation, the economic situation, the political situation, everything within each and every individual situation. Personally, we've been affected in some way, relationships as well. There is hope for something different because of the fact that that part of us within our DNA is starting to remember our divine selves. The divine selves are unified. We are living, breathing, knowing that we are under unconditional love and we are part of spirit. So that hope is in relation and in alignment and becoming more aligned with that part of us that is unconditional. Okay, so limitless. This is the possibility of knowing of our potential. Okay, so that's February, knowing the possibilities that could occur, the opportunities that could come to humanity as a whole, but each person as well. We've all been affected by the global situation, and this is what will happen in this time period. Is certain circumstances will allow us to have hope for something different, for the abundance, a favorable abundance to come into our lives. Okay, now March, we see childhood. Okay, March is a time as well where we have in the northern hemisphere we have the spring equinox. And in the Southern Hemisphere, we're going to into, a different situation as well. But at the same time, we're all experiencing this. So what is happening with childhood is going into, there's like a number of different things I'm getting. A lot of newness. So when we think of being a child or as a child may or may not actually know, from the wisdom that they carry within, they may or may not know what is going on in their environment, and they learn. And there's a lot of newness, and so there's eye-opening situations. There's awe and wonder around them. So this is where we get the awe and wonder. There will be some truths, some exposure, I guess you could say, that will allow for some awe and wonder and maybe some shock as well. But the other part of this is also going into that inner child. And this, a lot of us have done inner child work, so it doesn't necessarily mean that we're going to be doing more inner child work, but it could for some. In this regard, what I'm seeing is being as a child. So in other words, playing. So becoming more joyful. We've got hope in February, and the hope will lead us to a more lightened being, a more lightened way of being, a lightened, like enlightened, but at the same time lighter, feeling lighter, because as we're going towards the summer, we're starting to once again continue in our rise in consciousness. We're starting to see different things happening, and it's still going to be volatile. Like, when I say volatile, I mean the changes that are going to happen. It's going to be like a roller coaster, but the plateau that happens after these changes is going to become longer. I hope that makes sense. So basically, the plateau is more the accommodation, the processing of everything that has happened in that roller coaster. That said, then once you're in that plateau, once you get into that, after that roller coaster, you may feel as though you are lighter because some things are resolved. If there were challenges and difficulties that you've dealt with or that you've been through, then you will feel a higher form of resolution from that. So that might mean that you feel better, right? So the more you plateau, the more you deal with what has happened, and whether it's a challenging situation at home, relationships, with careers, with somebody around you, with things around you, with weather, with climate, with anything. If you've dealt with a challenge, then the rewards are sweeter. Okay? I'm hoping that makes a little bit more sense. So it is a form of saying that you have the opportunity not only to feel the lightness, but also to recognize that you can, that playing or not working as much, in other words, doing more of your passion will help you to feel more joy. And the more joy you feel, the lighter you feel. That is a form of childhood that maybe some of us felt that we were robbed of, but is coming back to this feeling, the new feeling. And then on that flip side of again, there's a lot of things that go on with this particular card, March. I also feel that we're going to be seeing imagery, basically imagination, our imagination, our intuition. So put these two together, the imagination and intuition is going to start to manifest certain things for us. So the more you apply imagination and emotion into your intuition, and you marry the two, this is going to allow you to know the next steps to take, like was said before, yet also manifest that which you desire even that much more. Okay, so that's March. March is a key month moving into April. All right, so let's go into April. April is commitment. So in commitment is actually a divine commitment. So this is the opportunity for us to shine as souls. We have the opportunity to commit to that which we desire, to commit to the passions that we have. And if you don't know your passions, that's okay, because they'll come to you. That is part of our DNA. That is where we have experiences in our wisdom. The wisdom is being released from our DNA. And trust me, you're going to be getting tons of downloads. What does that mean? That means probably waking up in the middle of the night. Maybe not every single night, but you will be having this periodically. Physical manifestations of that. Just to know that you're getting downloads. So you might have a little bit of headaches here and there, but it's more, what you can also do is ask your guides, ask spirit, ask your higher self to download in bits so that you're not physically affected, or basically ask for non-physical symptoms that come from a download. Having said that, the commitment that we have is not, it's to ourselves. It's a commitment for personal boundaries, yet we've done a lot of personal boundaries. We've probably, in this month alone, December alone, from when I'm doing this month is exercising personal boundaries probably to its nth degree. And I know that many people are feeling it through their relationships with others. Relationships over the last 3 months have been literally on a string, a very high strung situation. And that is, as astrologically, that's been said as well. Relationships are very key. Venus is playing a very key role in this. So is Neptune. Again, I encourage you to look at the astrology. Now, that said, April is a turning point. Every April seems to be a turning point for the last 3 years, but once again, it's a turning point. It is your commitment to your soul purpose, your life purpose, and things will actually become more clear to you as to how committed you are. Then you can also question how committed you are to where you are. So where you are, meaning in your job or career. Is it just a job? and if it is a job, then are you happy? If you're not happy, then I'm not kidding when I say that your higher self is going to say, let's just move you into something that you are happy to do, because that will be more aligned with your life purpose. That is commitment. That is divine commitment. And that is that part of us that we need to acknowledge. If we don't do something, if we're not doing something that is aligned with where we need to achieve a specific point in our life purpose map, then we're basically going to be taken out of that in a very quick succession, or very quickly, and put into something that is more aligned with us. And it could be that you could go kicking and screaming, or you could be very open to the change. And I believe that's where the commitment is going to be tried in ourselves. Are we committed to our life purpose, in that if there is something that is on the global arena, like basically that is pushing us to the limit as a human, like as humanity, then are we going to step up and change our roles from victim slash follower to leader and or our divine power? So it kind of exercises the taking back your power opportunity, and that, again, a turning point in April. And I see this might be seen in upheaval as well with around the world. It could be a pushback from the political situations and or leadership. There could be changes or opportunities, say, for example, in changes in leadership as well, or the offer for the changes of leadership and election. So there could be some different things that kind of that come up within the global arena that make us basically challenge our commitments and know what our commitments are. Okay, so that said, May. Let's look at May. May is wealth. Okay, that's good. Now, This is talking about not just monetary wealth, but it is monetary wealth. Okay, but it's also talking about the monetary situation, possibly going more digital, or the question of going digital, and how things are will shift in that regard. I see that happening within the first 6 and probably the next 6 months in 2026. So throughout the whole year, we will see more of a digitization of currency, but we also have to keep track of that and realize where our individualization comes into question in there. So that said, wealth is not just monetary, it is everything. So how wealthy do you feel? Do you feel that you are abundant in general? Because wealth can very much align with the abundance that we have. Are we wealthy do you feel wealthy in love? Do you feel wealthy in your relationships? Do you feel wealthy in your monetary situation? Do you feel wealthy in what you have, material wise? Do you feel wealthy in your ideas and opportunities? This is what wealth this is what wealth means. It's not just monetary, but this is also having to do with the monetary situation. When you look at how wealthy you are, you will, and you add gratitude to that, then all of a sudden abundance in to the nth degree, because it's a potential, for anything. This is where you could look into that and also reestablish wealth. So this could be an opportunity for you to change your wealth situation and to organize and see where you need to rebudget certain things, to connect with money a little bit differently as well. And I know that that's something that many of us are actually having to do as well, where we're kind of looking at money. Look at money as energy, right? Money is energy. Money is something that you can still have a relationship with. And so maybe you have to reevaluate that situation. Wealth is what we feel on the inside. How wealthy do you feel? If you feel very wealthy, then that means you will always be wealthy. So that's what this means. May is a time for wealth in all degrees. You can look at it in such a way that you're not, or that you need more, or that you are at the time, and then specify what it is that you want to add to that wealth. Okay, so May is that question of wealth, and it might be in question once again in the global arena as well. So we might see some changes in currency. That's the digitization. That could be the question of that, or even putting out polls to find out what works for certain countries or provinces, or whatever the case may be. So that is one of the major factors that's happening in May. Now for June. So now we're going into the summer for the Northern Hemisphere. Okay. Control. All right. So that said, control is basically it's in divine control. So that's what this is really. It's talking about our divine control. To relinquish control as well, to let go of control over the end games of anything. Like, so for example, if you have a particular goal and you want something to happen, if you could let go of your attachment to what it is that you want to happen, then something even better than you could have imagined will happen, because that's the way the divine works. That's the way the universe works. So control for June, this is a twofold kind of thing. This is where we may have a question that we have to kind of solve when it comes to that with leadership control. So we might have to push the boundaries a little bit on our individualized control. But also not to over control or micromanage as well. So micromanagement is something that can be done within your own life that could help in organization, but micromanagement from the top down in, let's say, a corporation, a business, or in the political realm can be very victimizing. So in this case, choose not to be the victim and recognize that you are in control. And with you being in control, spirit is in control. Allow spirit to give you the opportunity to have different opportunities, to recognize your potential as a divine being living a human life. So this is the opportunity that we have for control, to let go of certain end goals, but know that you do have something as a goal, like setting objectives for what you would like in your life. But also knowing that if you hold on to that control too tightly, then and attach yourself to what the outcome might be, then you will be disappointed, or you might not. You'll be blindsided. So who knows where that'll be? If you just basically let go of the attachment to the end, then spirit will come up with a conclusion that is better than you could ever imagine. That is usually what happens. And also going into the summertime for the Northern Hemisphere, we're looking into basically warmer times, and the sun kind of allowing that activation within each and every one of us. Excuse me, the great central sun, as well as the sun that we have, that is activating each and every one of us, our cells, into even that much more of a consciousness, a rise in our consciousness. And this is what I'm seeing too towards the end of the 6 months. So in the summertime, I believe we're going to have another kick into the rise of consciousness that sets us off for the next 6 months. So it's a pretty, like I say, volatile, but very good volatile 6 months. And having the 6 months kind of mentioned here, let's look at the overall. So I pulled a card for the overall 6 months, the first 6 months of 2026. And we see creativity. So basically, we have the whole year is going to be based on creativity, and this is something that is humanity's governing force, is creativity. It's how we are creating our own reality at this point. But it's been this way ever since we've gotten here. Ever since that we incarnated into whatever planet we're from. Basically, we have been creative, and that's what's the governing force of the entire cosmos beyond. That it's all about us being creative in not only setting our reality to what we want, but in manifestation. So the first 6 months, so this is basically a generalized card for the first 6 months. It's how we are setting our creativity for the future. And when we look at the cards once again from January till June, we have the past life. So basically, we're dealing with the skills and the experiences that we've had in our incarnations, and how it is all fusing into this particular lifetime. And in January, we get more of that wisdom coming out, revealing truths to us, so that we don't have to rely on anything else, anything being told to us. We just know the truth. February, we have the opportunity to basically see what's going on around us and have hope for the best future that we can create for ourselves, because we are the ones who are actually creating our future for ourselves. So this hope is basically something that comes up even that much more through circumstances around the globe as well. March, we're getting the opportunity to play, to be able to recognize that we have the capability of actually lightening the load on us, taking the world off our shoulders, and being as a child and being able to play and being in that state of joy. Also recognizing too that for those who haven't actually dealt with any childhood issues, this might be the time that might come up for that. And also that we might be in a way of awe and wonder of things that might come up for us. It might be even shocking. So then we've got April, where we are committed, we're in commitment to, or being asked how committed we are to our goals, to our life purpose path, by saying, okay, are you willing to continue in doing something that you don't like, or that you're basically, kind of dragging your butt to every single day? Or would you like to do something that is not only pleasant for yourself, that is basically doing what your passions are, but also recognizing that what you do as a passion is aligned with your life purpose path. So if you're not doing something that you're aligned with, then you're not going to feel it. You're not going to feel that passion. So that is in April, we get that opportunity to check, to put our commitments into check. Then into May, we are looking at wealth and how wealthy do you think you are? How wealthy do you feel that you are? Because if you do feel wealthy, then you will be wealthy. If you do not feel wealthy, you'll always be in a state of lack. So in this case, this is where you can change the way that you think of things, and that way that'll align with a wealthy situation. And plus, we're also going to look at the globe and see the wealth matters changing, possibly more digital currencies, possibly the fact that the wealth, the power and wealth situation, the scales in wealth will be changing. And then in June, we get the opportunity to let go of our preconceived notions of what our end goals are going to be. That we are the ones in control. We are the divine beings that are in control through the divine. That really, quite honestly, when the divine is in control, everything falls into place. And that is what we've been doing throughout the entire, so those first 6 months, is recognizing how we have control over our reality. And the overall is that we are creative beings. We've always been creative. And we also have the opportunity to say, what is it in this last 6 months that allows us to create the reality that we really, really want to see, not only individually, but in the globe. So yeah, like I said, it's going to be an interesting time period. It's still going to be one of those flavorful 6 months, and probably another interesting 6 months. But the June or July through December, I think, is going to be a little bit different in that sense too. So, and you'll have to wait for that. So that said, I hope that this helps. I hope that you can look back at this and see from January, like literally from January into June, what each month is going to play out for you. I encourage you to look back at some of the 6 months that I do, and see how that worked for you. Know that every month is going to be different for every person, but that the general overall situation might actually be more aligned with where you were at per month. So, and I'll also have a kind of a week by week play by play for my newsletters as well too. So please help yourself sign up to the newsletter, and it will be monthly from January onward. It's been for the last few months as well too, just because I've been doing the tours, the Galaxy Psychic tours. But I think I'm going to continue with that because it seems to be good in that sense. And then I can also have flexibility to do a little bit more in articles and social media. So I hope that helps. We will basically see you in the new year. And for those who celebrate, have a wonderful holiday, a wonderful seasonal holiday. And I know that this is, you'll be seeing this at various times in the new year too. So basically this might be a nice little greeting for you anyways, no matter what, that basically the holiday is what you make of it. Take the time for some time for yourself, and self-care is also very, very, very important. So especially with all the processing we're going to be doing, so take time for self-care. That said, thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe to my channel if you haven't, and like this video if you have. And yeah, we'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching. Take care. Bye for now.